You don't lose people when you choose yourself. You lose the ones who were never meant to stay. I know what it feels like to shrink, to make yourself smaller so someone else can feel bigger, to wait for a call, a message, a sign that you matter. But let me tell you something that took me years to understand. You were never created to be someone's backup plan. You were created with intention, with purpose, with a divine fingerprint no one else on this planet carries. And the moment you honor that, your entire life changes. So today, let's talk about choosing yourself, not as an act of selfishness, but as an act of faith. There was a time in my life when I kept handing out discounts on my worth without even realizing it. I thought being agreeable made me lovable. I thought bending myself into shapes I didn't recognize made me worthy of a seat at someone else's table. I believed that if I just stayed quiet, stayed soft, stayed accommodating, people would finally see me. They would finally value me. They would finally choose me. But life has a way of showing you the truth in small moments. Those moments when your heart whispers, "This isn't enough," but your fear answers, "Don't make a scene." I lived there for a long time, in the in-between, in the hesitation, in the silent negotiation with myself where I kept lowering the price of my value just to be accepted. But worth doesn't work like that. Your worth isn't a coupon someone redeems when it's convenient. Your worth is not a sale tag that changes depending on who walks into your life. Your worth is a fact, unchanging, non-negotiable, God-given. It's written into your bones, it's stitched into your soul, and the moment you stop bargaining with it, you stop shrinking to fit inside someone else's comfort. You stand tall, you breathe deeper, you walk differently, you speak differently, because something in you finally remembers who you were before the world tried to tell you otherwise. The truth is, people will always treat you at the level you treat yourself. If you treat yourself like an afterthought, they will too. If you speak about yourself in apologies and half sentences, they will learn to hear you that way. If you allow disrespect disguised as affection, they will keep offering it. And none of that makes them bad. It simply makes you responsible. Responsible for raising the standard, responsible for modeling how you deserve to be held, spoken to, valued, loved. And that begins with one brave choice, deciding that your worth is not up for negotiation. It takes courage. It takes deep, quiet courage to stop explaining why you deserve better. To stop proving your value to people who only see what you can give them. To stop chasing validation from places that were never built to hold your heart. Choosing yourself doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with silence. Sometimes it comes with confusion from the people who benefited from your self-doubt. Sometimes it comes with tears you cry alone at night, because growth doesn't always feel like rising. It often feels like breaking, but you're not breaking. You're breaking open. You're breaking patterns. You're breaking cycles. You're breaking the belief that you need to earn love by shrinking into a safer version of you. You're learning that you were created whole, not in pieces. You're learning that confidence isn't loud. It's consistent. You're learning that self-respect is a daily practice, a daily declaration, a daily decision to show up for yourself, even when your old habits try to pull you back. And when you finally draw that line, when you finally say, "This is who I am and this is what I deserve," your life begins to shift. People who are only attracted to your uncertainty will fall away. People who are entertained by your insecurity will drift. But the people meant for you, they will rise to meet the version of you that rises for herself. They will match your respect. They will honor your boundaries. They will speak to the soul of you, not the wound in you. That is the magic of worth. It magnetizes what aligns and removes what doesn't. You don't need to fight for your value. You don't need to argue for it. You don't need to convince anyone that you are deserving of love, respect, loyalty, effort, presence, peace. You simply need to claim it, ground yourself in it, live in a way that reflects it. Because when you recognize your worth, the world learns to recognize it too. And when that happens, something extraordinary takes place. Life starts offering you rooms you don't have to beg to enter. Opportunities that don't require you to compromise your spirit. Relationships that feel like nourishment instead of negotiation. Your worth opens doors that your desperation once kept locked. Your worth makes space for miracles your self-doubt once pushed away. So breathe. Lift your chin. Stand tall in who you are. You don't need permission to be valuable. You never did. Your worth is not a conversation. It is not a debate. It is not a vote. It is a truth. A sacred, unshakable truth. And the moment you stop negotiating it, you step into the life you were always meant to live. There is something incredibly painful about walking into a room and feeling like you're there on borrowed permission, like you're stepping onto a stage where everyone else got the script, but you're still trying to memorize your lines. I know that feeling. The tightness in your chest, the way you rehearse your words before you speak, the way you question whether you belong, not because you don't have the ability, but because someone made you doubt it. Sometimes it's a subtle look. Sometimes it's a dismissive tone. Sometimes it's the quiet exclusion that makes you feel like you're reaching for a place that keeps moving just out of reach. But here's a truth we rarely say out loud. When someone makes you doubt your place, that place was never yours to begin with. The environments that are meant for you don't require begging. The people who are meant for you don't make you fight to feel seen. The opportunities aligned with your purpose don't make you question whether you're enough. They make you grow into someone even stronger, even clearer, even more grounded. I had to learn that belonging is not something you chase. It's something you recognize. It's something your soul knows long before your mind catches up. And when you're forcing yourself to fit where you don't belong, something inside you always feels off. It's like wearing a pair of shoes that look beautiful but are 2 sizes too small. You convince yourself you can walk. You tell yourself the pain is normal. You smile through it because you don't want to cause a scene. But eventually you have to take them off. Not because you're weak, but because they were never made for your feet. Life works the same way. When a person, a room, a relationship, a career path makes you question your worth, it's not a sign for you to try harder. It's a sign for you to pay attention. Doubt is information. Discomfort is information. Your spirit is speaking, telling you, this does not honor you, this does not fit you, this does not grow you. And we ignore that truth because we fear the alternative, leaving, starting over, standing alone. But staying somewhere that costs you your peace is far more expensive than walking away. There were moments in my life when I felt everything inside me dimming and I couldn't understand why. I showed up, I worked hard, I gave everything. But something still felt wrong. And every time I tried to shrink myself to fit the moment, I felt myself disappearing. That's the danger of forcing yourself into places you were never meant to remain. You lose fragments of yourself in the process. And those fragments matter. They are pieces of your identity, your power, your faith, your essence. The right spaces don't ask you to break yourself down. They build you. They stretch you, yes, but they stretch you in ways that make you bigger, not smaller. People who truly see you won't make you question your spot in their life. They won't leave you guessing. They won't make you compete with your own insecurity just to feel valued. They hold space for you. They honor your presence. They respect your contribution. They make room for your voice, not because they have to, but because they recognize its worth. And let me tell you something important. God will never put you in a place where you need to beg to be kept. If staying somewhere requires you to plead for attention, for affection, for acknowledgement, it's not a blessing, it's a distraction. It's noise. And sometimes, losing the place you thought you wanted is the only way you can find the place designed for you. Walking away doesn't mean you failed. Walking away means you finally understood your value. Walking away means you are choosing truth over illusion. And yes, it will hurt. Your attachment will ache. Your hope will ache. Your expectations will ache. But that ache is temporary. The peace that follows is not, one day you will walk into a room and feel it in your bones, you belong here. You will meet people who speak to your soul without making you audition for their acceptance. You will stand in opportunities where you don't have to pretend. You will feel the ease of alignment, the calm of being exactly where you're meant to be. And all those places that made you doubt your worth, they will feel small in comparison, not because they were bad, but because they were not yours. So trust that feeling. Trust that inner pull that whispers, you deserve more than this. Trust that every place that makes you question your value is guiding you toward one that will celebrate it. You don't have to beg for a seat where God has prepared a table with your name already written on it. Choosing yourself is one of the most misunderstood acts in the world. People hear those words and immediately think it means you're turning your back on others, abandoning them, becoming selfish. But choosing yourself is not abandonment. It's alignment. It's coming home to the truth of who you are and who you were created to be. And the moment you begin honoring that truth, the world around you shifts. Sometimes gently, sometimes dramatically, sometimes so painfully that you question whether you did the right thing at all. There was a time in my life when I believed that loving people meant sacrificing myself at every turn. I believed that being available was the same as being loyal. I believed that giving until I had nothing left somehow made me worthy of being kept. But here's what I learned. Love that requires you to disappear isn't love. It's dependency. Commitment that asks you to silence your needs isn't commitment, it's control. And relationships that demand your exhaustion as proof of your devotion aren't relationships, they're emotional contracts built on imbalance. Choosing yourself doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what was never yours. It means you stop bleeding to make others comfortable. It means you stop betraying the quiet voice inside you that keeps saying, "This isn't right, this isn't peace, this isn't who you are." That voice is not selfish, that voice is sacred, that voice is the compass God placed inside you to lead you back to yourself every time life pulls you off center. For years I ignored that compass. I kept pouring into situations that drained me. I kept showing up for people who gave me half of what I offered them. I kept pretending that I didn't need rest, boundaries, clarity, honesty. I convinced myself that endurance was the same as strength. But real strength isn't staying in places that break you. Real strength is walking away from them with grace. Real strength is choosing peace even when chaos feels familiar. Real strength is honoring the version of you that God is shaping, not the version the world tries to keep small. There is a moment in everyone's life when you realize that you cannot keep living on emotional credit. You cannot keep borrowing time, energy, love, and faith from a future version of yourself just to survive the present. One day you wake up and feel the weight of it all. The exhaustion in your bones, the heaviness in your chest, the quiet resentment simmering beneath your kindness. And in that moment, you have a choice. Keep abandoning yourself for people who don't notice the cost, or choose yourself even if people don't understand. Some won't understand. Some will say you changed. Some will call you distant or cold or selfish. Some will push back because your boundaries interrupt their comfort. But if the price of someone's love is your self-respect, it's too expensive. If the price of their approval is your identity, it's too expensive. If the price of their presence is your peace, it's far too expensive. Choosing yourself is not an act of rebellion. It's an act of reverence. It's you saying, I honor the life God gave me too much to waste it on things that don't grow me. When you choose yourself, you're not walking away from people, you're walking toward your purpose. You're walking toward mental clarity, emotional stability, spiritual grounding. You're walking toward a version of you that operates from fullness, not depletion. And when you operate from fullness, you have more to give, not less. Your love becomes healthier, your giving becomes intentional, your presence becomes powerful. There's a peace that comes with choosing yourself, a peace that is still, quiet, steady, a peace that holds you in moments when you feel alone, a peace that whispers, this is right, keep going. And eventually that peace turns into clarity, clarity turns into confidence, confidence turns into alignment, and alignment turns... There is a kind of silence that scares people. A silence that feels too honest, too revealing, too loud on the inside. We're taught from a young age to keep talking, keep pleasing, keep explaining ourselves so no one misunderstands our heart. But I learned something along the way. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is a form of strength so profound that it makes people uncomfortable because it cannot be manipulated. Silence holds truth. Silence holds intuition. Silence holds God. there were seasons in my life when I used my voice like armor. I thought if I talked enough, explained enough, defended enough, people would finally understand me. They would finally stay. They would finally treat me the way I hoped they would. But all that talking did was exhaust me. Because when someone has already decided how they want to see you, your words cannot change their vision. When someone benefits from misunderstanding you, no amount of clarity will fix their motives. That's when silence becomes sacred. Silence is where you learn the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting comes from fear, from insecurity, from wanting to be right or validated. Responding comes from wisdom. Responding comes from stability. Responding comes from letting your emotions settle long enough for your soul to speak. And your soul always speaks in whispers, not noise. If your life is filled with noise, you'll miss it every time. There were days I wanted to scream. Days when the disrespect was loud, the dismissal was loud, the injustice was loud. But I realized that not every battle is mine to fight. Not every comment deserves my energy. Not every betrayal deserves my explanation. Some battles will drain you more than they free you. And the older I got, the more I understood that silence is not walking away in defeat. It's walking away in power. Sometimes your silence says more than your words ever could. Your silence says, I refuse to lower myself to this level. Your silence says, I'm choosing peace over chaos. Your silence says, I don't need to win this argument to win my life. And the right people, the ones who move with integrity, honesty, compassion, they will understand your silence. They will respect it. They will feel its strength. Silence is also where healing happens. When you stop explaining your pain to people who pretend to care, and you sit with yourself long enough to truly feel, you begin to understand what your heart has been trying to tell you. You begin to understand what your spirit has been carrying. Healing rarely happens in loud rooms. Healing happens in quiet surrender, in moments where you finally allow yourself to be still enough to release what has been hurting you. And silence is where you hear God most clearly. In the rush of life, in the noise of opinions, in the pressure of expectations, His voice feels distant. But in the stillness, in the quiet, in those moments where you stop fighting and simply breathe, you hear the guidance you've been begging for. You hear the truth beneath the confusion. You hear the strength beneath the fear. You hear the direction beneath the doubt. God speaks the loudest in the places we fear the most, our own quiet. But silence doesn't just reveal others, it reveals you. It shows you your patterns, your wounds, your habits, your longings. It shows you what you've been avoiding by staying busy. It shows you who you've been giving your energy to without reflection. And once you see those truths, you cannot unsee them. Silence forces honesty. It forces presence. It forces growth. Some people won't like your silence. They will push you to react because your reaction feeds them. Your calm starves them. They will call you cold, uninterested, distant. They will say you've changed. And they're right, you have. You've stopped giving everyone access to you. You've stopped bleeding for people who never brought you a bandage. You've stopped entertaining conversations that drain you. You've stopped defending your character to people committed to misunderstanding it. Your silence is not the absence of strength. It is the presence of it. So use it wisely. Use it intentionally. Use it not to punish others, but to protect yourself. Use it to listen. Use it to learn. Use it to reconnect with your spirit. Use it to build the life that your noise kept delaying. Silence is a sanctuary if you allow it to be. A place where you meet the most honest version of yourself. A place where you find answers no one else could give you. And when you return from that silence, more grounded, more aware, more aligned, you don't have to say a single word. Your energy will speak for you. Your presence will speak for you. Your peace will speak for you. Silence doesn't make you weak. It makes you unstoppable. Rejection is one of those experiences that feels like it punches the air out of your lungs. It hits you in places you didn't know were vulnerable. It feels personal even when it isn't. It feels like someone has looked at your heart, your effort, your dreams, and decided you weren't enough. And that feeling can break you if you let it. But over time, I learned that rejection isn't a dead end. It is a redirection, a reroute, a divine intervention disguised as disappointment. There were moments in my life when something I wanted slipped away so suddenly that I questioned everything. I questioned my talent. I questioned my purpose. I questioned whether I had misunderstood the path God put me on. It's painful when a door closes. It's painful when a person walks away. It's painful when an opportunity you poured your soul into goes to someone else. And in that moment, it feels like the world is saying, you don't matter, you don't belong, you're not it. But the more life I lived, the more I realized something important. What leaves you is never meant for you. What rejects you is clearing space for something greater. What doesn't choose you is teaching you that your value is not dependent on human decisions. God uses rejection as protection. Protection from rooms that would dim you. Protection from relationships that would break you. Protection from opportunities that would limit you. Sometimes the blessing isn't in what you gain, it's in what you're spared from. Think about all the times you wanted something so badly, only to realize later that it would have taken your peace, your joy, your identity. Think about the people you cried over, only to thank God years later that they walked away. Think about the dreams that didn't come true, only to make space for dreams you didn't even know were possible. Rejection stings in the moment, but hindsight reveals its mercy. The truth is, we hold on too tightly. We cling to outcomes because we think we know what's best. But sometimes what we want is too small for the magnitude of who we're becoming. Sometimes what we're chasing isn't aligned with the person we're meant to evolve into. Sometimes we're asking for crumbs when God is setting up a banquet. But we don't see that when we're hurting. We only see the loss. We only feel the emptiness. We only hear the no. What we don't hear is the quiet whisper behind that no saying, just wait, just trust, something better is on the way. Rejection redirects your path, but it also refines your character. It forces you to look inward instead of outward. It teaches you resilience, humility, patience, discipline. It teaches you to find validation within, instead of seeking it in places that were never meant to give it to you. It teaches you that your destiny cannot be derailed by someone else's decision. It teaches you that if a door shuts, it's because it wasn't your door. And here's something beautiful. The right opportunities don't require you to chase them. They recognize you. They match your energy. They fit you without forcing. They meet you at the level of your preparation and your purpose. When you look back, you'll see how the reroutes were actually shortcuts, how the heartbreaks were actually awakenings, how the disappointments were actually redirections to something richer, deeper, fuller. Rejection also shows you something about yourself, your resilience. The fact that you survived what once felt unbearable. The fact that you rose again after falling. The fact that you rebuilt when your world felt like it was collapsing. Every no you've endured has shaped you, strengthened you, stripped away your illusions, and left you with truth. And truth is power. But here's the thing many people don't understand. Redirection only works if you're willing to move. If you cling to the closed door, you'll miss the open one right behind you. If you keep rehearsing the rejection, you'll blind yourself to the blessing. If you fixate on who left, you'll overlook who's coming. You must be willing to release what ended. You must be willing to trust what's next. The path God designs for you is never linear. It's winding, unpredictable, sometimes confusing, but always intentional. Every detour has meaning. Every delay has purpose. Every rejection has instruction. And when you look back one day, you'll see it clearly, the pattern, the protection, the preparation. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, where is this leading me? Instead of asking, what did I do wrong? Ask, what am I being guided toward? Instead of breaking under rejection, rise from it. Learn from it. Let it soften you without weakening you. Let it sharpen you without hardening you. One day you'll realize that the no you cried over was the greatest yes of your life. There comes a time in your life when you realize that peace is not something you stumble into. It's something you choose, something you protect, something you build deliberately. And the only way to protect that peace is through boundaries. People hear the word boundaries and think it means shutting people out or becoming cold. But boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are gates. They don't keep everything out. They keep the wrong things out. They let in what nourishes you and block what harms you. They are the gatekeepers of your peace. And learning to set them is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you will ever practice. I used to struggle with boundaries. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I didn't want to be misunderstood. I didn't want to be labeled difficult or ungrateful. So I said yes when I wanted to say no. I showed up when I was exhausted. I gave more than I had. I accepted behavior that chipped away at my spirit. And every time I abandoned my own needs to protect someone else's comfort, something inside me dimmed. Something inside me grew tired. Something inside me whispered, "This is not love. This is survival." Here's what I learned. You cannot pour from an empty soul. You cannot love from a broken place. You cannot keep sacrificing yourself at the altar of other people's expectations and then wonder why you feel drained, resentful, invisible. Boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary. They are a declaration that your time, your energy, your heart, your mental health are valuable, and anything valuable needs protection. The people who truly love you won't be threatened by your boundaries. They will welcome them. They will adjust. They will understand that your limits are not an attack. They are a language that says, "I'm human. I have needs. I have capacity, and I deserve to be treated with care." But the people who benefit from your lack of boundaries, they will resist. They will push back, they will guilt you, they will twist your intentions, they will call you selfish for finally choosing yourself. And that is how you know who belongs in your life and who only belongs in a chapter. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. They show others what you allow and what you won't tolerate. They show others where the line is and how to respect it. But more importantly, boundaries teach you something too. They teach you discipline. They teach you honesty, they teach you courage. Because saying no is hard when you've spent years saying yes out of fear, obligation, or habit. But every time you choose your peace over someone else's comfort, you reclaim a part of yourself you once abandoned. There is a moment, a quiet, defining moment, when you finally realize that being the strong one isn't about carrying everything on your shoulders. It's about choosing what to carry. It's about recognizing that not every burden is yours. Not every crisis needs your intervention. Not every person deserves unlimited access to your heart. Some people must meet you at the gate instead of living inside your sanctuary. And here's something important. Boundaries are not only about saying no to others. They're about saying no to your own unhealthy patterns too. Saying no to overextending yourself. Saying no to people-pleasing. Saying no to the version of you that thinks love must hurt to be real. Saying no to the guilt that rises when you prioritize yourself for the first time in a long time. Boundaries don't just protect you from others. They protect you from the old you. The you who tolerated too much. The you who accepted too little. The you who confused availability with love and exhaustion with worth. There is a peace that comes with boundaries that is unlike anything else. A peace that feels like coming up for air after being underwater too long. A peace that brings clarity, confidence, and self-trust. A peace that makes you wonder why you ever allowed yourself to live without it. And slowly, your life shifts. You attract people who respect your time, your energy, your heart. You attract opportunities that align with your value, not your desperation. You attract relationships built on mutual effort, not one-sided sacrifice. Because your boundaries don't just protect your peace, they create it. They create the environment where you can grow, heal, and rise without constantly being drained. You deserve a life that feels like peace, not survival. And peace begins the moment you decide that you will no longer betray yourself just to keep the world comfortable. So draw the line, stand firm in it, honor it, because your peace is priceless, and anything that threatens it is too expensive to keep. There comes a season in every person's life where the noise fades, the crowd thins, and you find yourself standing alone. Not abandoned, not forgotten, just alone. At first, that quiet can feel unbearable. You question everything, your decisions, your worth, your strength, your direction. You replay old conversations, old mistakes, old heartbreaks, searching for where the loneliness began. But here's the truth I learned through my own journey. Standing alone is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is power. It is the place where you transform from someone who leans to someone who leads. There were times in my life when I relied too heavily on the comfort of company. I believed that if I had people around me, I would be safe from doubt, fear, or uncertainty. I believed that as long as I had a shoulder to lean on, I wouldn't have to face my own reflection too deeply. But when life shifted, when people I trusted drifted away, when circumstances changed without warning, I found myself alone with my own thoughts, and that was where everything began to change. Because solitude forces you to meet yourself, the real you. You begin to prioritize your peace. You begin to live from authenticity instead of approval. And when you reach that point, when standing alone feels like strength, you become magnetic, not because you're seeking attention, but because you no longer need it. The right people are drawn to wholeness, the right opportunities are drawn to confidence, the right love is drawn to a soul that knows its worth. When you stop chasing connection out of fear, you make room for connection rooted in truth. When you stop accepting crumbs, you invite the feast. When you stop begging to be chosen, you attract people who choose you effortlessly. Standing alone doesn't mean you will stay alone. It means you are preparing. It means you are clearing space. It means you are elevating beyond what once felt comfortable. It means you are becoming someone who will never again settle for less than what your spirit deserves. So if you're in a season of solitude right now, don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't judge it. Lean into it. Learn from it. Let it strengthen you. Let it refine you. Let it remind you that you are capable of walking forward even when no one walks with you. Because the moment you realize you can stand alone, you become unstoppable. And from that place, everything meant for you will find you. Not because you need it, but because you're finally ready for it. And when you walk forward from this moment, walk with a quiet, unshakable knowing in your heart that you were never created to live small. You were never created to chase love, beg for worth, or shrink yourself for anyone's comfort. You were created with intention, with purpose, with a divine strength stitched into your soul long before the world ever tried to test it. So stand tall. Stand true. Stand rooted in the truth that what is meant for you will not pass you, and what passes you was never meant to stay. Life will bend, twist, challenge, and stretch you, but it will never break what God has built inside you. You are carried.